All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking this opportunity to jump in and learn more about the Scholastic Fellow Program. I'm sure many of you are potential candidates and are considering applying to the program. So I'm hoping to answer all of your questions today. Just quick introduction. My name is Jarrell Batak. I am the Esports Scholastic Instructional Coach and Director of the Scholastic Fellow Program. I am based out of the Orange County Department of Education, located in Orange County, Southern California. But I mainly work with NASEF specifically, which is the North America Scholastic Esports Federation. Hopefully in your journey to this call, you've had an opportunity to dig in, or maybe you've participated in clubs. But for those of you that are brand new, just a quick little recap. NASEF is ultimately on a mission and vision to really utilize Scholastic Esports as a vehicle for learning all of the critical skills, 21st century learning skills that we see as educators as important for the success of our students and youth. So really through the lens of Scholastic Esports. And we accomplish this through really what we call the esports ecosystem. This is ultimately kind of the centerpiece of what we advocate for when we talk about Scholastic Esports. In the center, you'll find the players in the games, but all around it, there are all these different college and career opportunities for students and youth to explore in the realm of Scholastic Esports. And so through this, hopefully you've had a chance to look through a lot of the different curricula, but really I wanted to spend some time today really diving deeper into what the Scholastic Fellow Program is all about. Now, to quickly kind of summarize, the best way to describe it is that ultimately it's a professional learning community. And I think if I were to frame it more accurately, ultimately it's a community of practice of like-minded educators that are really looking to integrate Scholastic Esports into their educational programs. Now, this is open to anyone and everyone, right? So you could be operating at a middle school, high school, you could be operating at a out of school time, community-based organization. You know, it's all these different levels. You could be a teacher in the classroom, you could be an admin, a director. And so there's different opportunities. It really is, again, going back to that idea that we are a community of educators that are looking to provide these opportunities. Through this program, you'll have access to an instructional coach, which is myself, as well as the NASEF Scholastic Mentors, which I'll get to in a minute. Those are Scholastic Fellows that have served at least 1 year within the program and have moved on to become a leader within the community. On top of that, you'll have access to all of the NASEF curriculum, tools, and resources. To give a little bit of background about what the Scholastic Fellow Program is about and how we've started, we initially launched the program with an inaugural cohort in 2019. And these are all the beautiful faces of the Scholastic Fellows from our first year. And there were 24 of them across 11 states. 13 of them were in middle school, 11 were in high school, with over 1,200 students impacted. Now, moving into the second year, which was last year, we expanded the program across 4 countries, which include 14 states in the US, Mexico, UK, and South Africa, with over 2,500 students impacted according to their, the connections that they had with their communities. Here are all the amazing Scholastic Fellows and mentors from last year. It was extremely competitive from last year. There were over 100 educators that applied from across the US, Mexico, UK, South Africa, and Israel. 28 fellows were selected from various backgrounds, like I had alluded to earlier. Teachers, coordinators, specialists, directors, all operating either in a local, regional, or statewide capacity across various middle school, high school, out of school time, and community-based organizations. Now, one thing to keep in mind as you consider applying to this program, there is a secondary feature to this. So after 1 year as a fellow, you have the opportunity to also participate in the Scholastic Mentor Program. And this is really taking that implementation of Scholastic Esports to the next level and focusing primarily on your leadership development and the capacity to mentor others within this space. After completion of the program, you are technically an official NASEF trainer of trainer. And as part of that, what we've done is really link all of that to with a partnership with Cal State Fullerton around actually taking all of the Scholastic Mentor requirements and aligning that to the syllabus. So as part of being a mentor, you have the opportunity to earn 10 continued education units through the work that you do in that program. So I will say that is an opportunity after you consider participating as 1 year and a fellow. These are 8 of the Scholastic Mentors from last year who continued on as a fellow from the inaugural year. And now looking into this year, and I'll put this kind of graphic on here, you'll see a bunch of smiley faces. We really are looking to expand this program globally. And you'll see kind of a distribution of all the current fellows and mentors, and obviously the opportunity for other fellows across our various international partners and relationships. And we're hoping to really create, again, this global community of educators to really identify, the successes, challenges, and best practices around the integration of scholastic esports in education. Now, you might imagine and ask, how does this all happen if everyone is spread across various time zones? The community practice is virtual in nature, and the way we've designed the program is a blend of both synchronous and asynchronous interactions throughout the year. On the synchronous side, you have access to bi-weekly check-ins with myself as well as the scholastic mentors. We also have ad hoc group collaboration meetings, depending on, as you're collaborating with other members in the community, those will be determined by your group. And then we have our monthly PLC meetings, which occur in Zoom, similar to this space, where we talk about all the different things that we're working on and all the amazing things that can be accomplished. On the asynchronous side, we have what's called Flipgrid challenges, which are part of the assignments. And this is really just video sort of recording. I like to think of this as kind of like your MTV confessional booth to talk about all these successes and challenges around your implementation. And then we also have a Discord community, which acts as both a synchronous and asynchronous hub to share, create, and collaborate with each other. Timeline-wise, it is an 8 to 9 month program. The selection process occurs from July to September. The program application closes at the end of this month. We'll select our cohort at the end of August, and then we'll have our kickoff call, which is to be determined in September. And then from that point, from October to June, you'll see kind of the cadence of monthly meetings, assignments, as well as Discord text chat days, which are another opportunity to engage asynchronously with each other. Now, the selection process, and I'll go through this really quickly. This is the process that we go about in order to really vet and select all of the Scholastic Fellows in the program. You'll start off with the online written application, which includes a letter of support from your admin, just to let us know that you have permission to do this and you're not just going rogue in your community. There is a video introduction that we do ask you complete as part of that application. And what will happen is between the written and video application, there will be a screening process. And those that will continue on will receive a request for a follow-up virtual interview in the month of August, which will then select all of the cohort by the end of August and kick things off in September. Now, all applications are due July 30th. I will say, as a little teaser, we might extend that deadline just a little bit, but definitely please, I encourage you to submit it as soon as possible. Now, there are a bunch of benefits and requirements that we list out, and you'll find this all in the program application PDF. Thanks, Carolyn, for posting that in the chat. And this includes things like, obviously, you have access to a broad, like-minded community around the implementation. You have access to instructional and curriculum implementation support from myself, as well as the greater mentor and fellow community. You also have really just continued support in growing your esports and learning program. And really the goal of this is really to provide you all with a platform to also share all of your work. So really recognizing you all as an esports education leader across the globe. Now, there are requirements to that. And again, all of this is found in the packet with lots and lots of details. We do expect that you activate a NASEF Esports Club. We do expect that you implement aspects of the NASEF integrated curriculum. This is not end-to-end. You are more than welcome to adopt pieces of it, and as you see fit based on the context of your community. We do anticipate that as you're going on this journey of curricular integration, that you'll also collect and share artifacts and document your process and work. And we'll continue to share this out to elevate both your program as well as your professional work. Obviously, we expect that you'll participate in the community throughout the year and then continue to advocate for Scholastic Esports. Now, there are shared commitments that we ask you to agree to. One of them is the assignments, which I'll get into more detail in a minute here. There are quarterly assignments. There's also the monthly calls as well as potential Flipgrid challenges. We have the bi-weekly check-ins, and then any single events that may occur throughout the year. This is just dependent upon, what events, conferences, and whatnot may, surface throughout the year, and we'll ask you kindly based on your availability. Now, just as an average kind of approximation, we measure that it'll take about 100 to 200 hours of your time throughout the year. Now, I know there are some current concerns around this number, and I believe some fellows have actually addressed this. If you think about what you're implementing, if you're already planning on implementing esports, this really just folds into what you're already doing. And all on top of that, you'll have access to this community as you go about that work. As part of the program, and this is really kind of where the practice piece comes in, we do have assignments as part of the requirements. Now, assignment 1 is creating a robust implementation plan for what you hope to accomplish in your school, district, or program. Assignment 2 is really creating a curriculum module or a lesson plan that reflects the implementation that you had planned for. And this obviously could be written by yourself, or if you are maybe operating at a district level or a statewide level, if you're working with a group to create that curriculum module, that's also an opportunity. And then lastly, assignment number 3 is a capstone project, which is really an open-ended design project to basically take everything that you've learned, and obviously an opportunity to collaborate with others within that global community. And I'll share some examples of what this could potentially look like. As part of the program, like I said earlier, you have access to all of the NASEF curriculum, and all of this is free. There's the 4-year UC A through G approved ELA curriculum, the UC A through G aligned CTE curriculum and grids. There is the middle school and community-based organization career exploration curriculum, which I believe is set up to be a 9-week curriculum. There's also the community library, which is an entire library of modules designed and developed by the Scholastic Fellows. And then we have a plethora of health and wellness toolkits and resources available. So you have all of this as sort of a buffet to really utilize as you're designing and developing your particular Scholastic esports program. And like I said earlier, all of the Scholastic Fellows work is available to you as a point of inspiration. And these are just some examples from our 2 cohorts. You'll see some creative examples around ELA. We've seen some unique ones around blending esports and social science or critical thinking and analysis. Obviously, there's some around middle school and really looking at the content creation aspect of things like streaming and shoutcasting. And then for some, even looking at educator models. How do you continue to educate educators around Scholastic esports? This is not limited to just middle school and high school. Obviously, CTE is a huge emphasis and an opportunity since there are all of those career pathways in esports. And then community-based organizations obviously are another avenue, right? So summer programming, after school, out of school time programming in various spaces. So definitely a lot to pull from. And you can see all of this, again, links in the chat here in the NASEF community library. You'll be able to sort through and kind of dig in. This will give you an opportunity to kind of see what's been created and give you kind of an idea of what's expected as part of your participation in the program. Now, to give you examples of capstone projects, I think these are 2 great examples, and these were actually featured at the San Diego Diplomacy Council in 2020, their signature event, as a way to really showcase the power of esports gaming to promote world peace and diplomacy. So a Scholastic Fellow from the UK, James Fraser Murison, as well as a Scholastic Fellow from New Mexico, Dr. Miles Harvey, collaborated to host an intercontinental Rocket League match between their students. In the same vein, Scholastic mentor Angelique Giannis from San Diego and Scholastic Fellow David Amaro, who's actually on this call, they worked on to collaborate on an international game night between their students in Among Us. Now, in both of these experiences, while they did play games, I think it's great to really showcase the fact that part of their interactions went beyond the game to really talk about what are the similarities and differences between their culture, what are some shared interests across the group. And so again, it really is an opportunity to really showcase the value of what esports and gaming can do, right? We're building world peace and allowing students to engage interactively and uniquely through this virtual space. And like I said earlier, we're really encouraging you to get out there, and we're supporting you in developing both your program as well as your professional selves. So we encourage you to go out there and present at conferences. We'll provide you with various resources like slide decks. You can obviously co-present with other fellows and mentors. And then we can also support you in developing, pitching, and proposing all of that. And many of the fellows have presented last year, as well as published various things last year and the year before. Some examples of that include, for on the publication side, various articles in tech and learning, in district administration, eSchool news. And then as an emergent example, one of the Scholastic Fellows last year, Dr. Miles Harvey, started creating this book called Esports Research and its Integration in Education. And many of the Scholastic Fellows contributed chapters to that book. And so that's an example of an emergent opportunity within the community. On the conference side, there's plenty here. Obviously, just the list of conferences that many of the fellows have presented at, and we've supported them. And then just some examples in eSchool news of articles that were written by Scholastic Fellows and mentors. All right, so that was a lot of information, but I have the pleasure and honor to kind of share space with some of the Scholastic Fellows from last year who have graciously volunteered their time to kind of share and talk a little bit about their experiences. I'm just gonna call them out and just, kind of showcase their work. David Amaro, Bradford Harris, Lindy Miser, Tyler Hahn, and Mark Godinez. So there are a handful of you in this call. So I'd appreciate if you don't mind just taking a couple minutes to share a little bit about your experience in the program. And if you don't mind, I'll just kind of call you out just to keep things smooth. So David, do you want to kind of kick things off?
Sure. I hope everyone hears me fine enough. I'm David Amaro from Mexico. I work for Anahuac Mexico Esports and Prepa League. My experience was based upon the huge community that they are working on at NASEF. And it's really everyone is a team experience. So on my world, I started as an esports specialist. I wasn't really an educator. And I had the opportunity to work with all these amazing educators and really learned a lot about them, their students, their systems, and what the community needed moving forward when it came to scholastic esports. So through their help and their mentoring, including, of course, Joril, I was capable to develop curriculum, which was never something I planned to do when I started studying. And it was really great to find myself as an educator and discover all these huge opportunities to help students and educators in my country. So it was a fantastic experience.
Thank you, David. And I'm just going to go down the line here. Tyler, do you mind kind of popping in and sharing your thoughts? You've been with us for a couple of years now as a Scholastic mentor as well.
Yeah, so hi all, my name's Tyler Hahn. I was one of the inaugural fellows, and then I just recently served as a mentor. This is an amazing opportunity for everybody. I was very fortunate to have 2 years within this program, and it has been absolutely instrumental in implementing my own programming and then going ahead and helping facilitate other organizations and facilities in implementing their own scholastic esports programming.
Thanks, Tyler. So for those of you that are operating in the out of school time community-based space, Tyler is definitely the expert. Bradford, do you mind jumping in?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Bradford Harris, and like the other fellows, I just completed this year with NASEF. I am an affiliate, so we have an organization here in Texas called the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, where I serve as the Director of Learning. It's a nonprofit organization for Texas schools. But I also serve at the district level in my district in Texas as a coordinator of innovation. And so I really enjoyed this process with NASEF because I write curriculum all the time, especially for the tech side and the curriculums and the professional development side. But I had the opportunity to really understand how to implement this at the district level and at the state level. So not just with Terrell and the NASEF people, but for people across the country and across the world, I really got to understand that I'm not the only one that's in this space. I'm not the only one that's dealing with I want to do esports, and how am I going to do it? How am I going to implement it? So what I really love what Jarrell and the NASEF staff do is they don't just put you in groups and just throw you and say, I wish you the best. They put you with like-minded groups. So if you are a ELA teacher, for example, they try to group you with ELA teachers. If you are a district level person, they try to put you with district level people. So you all kind of have that same mindset. And so it was an amazing journey. If you all can decide to continue with the process, it's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding. You get a lot of ideas from not just the fellows, but from the mentors.
Great, Bradford. I appreciate that. Lindy, do you mind jumping in? And you have a unique implementation, so I'd love for you to share with the group as well.
Of course. My name is Lindy Meisler. I am from North Texas. Excuse me. I started out in a library that already had an established esports program. So I kind of got to see, what it was from the educator side, from a teacher side. I'm an engineer. I'm not a traditional teacher. So in my mind, it's like, where can we take this? It needs to go further. So I've started a nonprofit. It's called Esports Texhoma. It's dedicated to building the confidence and skills of troubled youth through esports. So right now we're working on providing shelter, providing scholarships and job skills training to newly released incarcerated youth. We're working on with the state and now nationally. I went to DC last week to talk to the National Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention about creating curriculum suitable for teens in alternative education situations that can boost their knowledge and confidence upon completion so that they can become the valuable community citizens that they're meant to be.
Thanks, Lindy. That's always exciting to hear. I think there's so much opportunity, and it really showcases the creative ways that we can really take these ideas and implement it with our communities. And last but not least, Mark, if you don't mind just popping in, sharing a little bit about your experience, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A.
Yeah, good evening, guys. My name is Mark Godinez, and I'm incredibly thankful to be part of this group. I work with underserved communities, and my specialty is virtual reality. And through this Scholastic Fellowship journey, I've been able to integrate what I do with gaming. And even right now, even 2 days ago, I had a call with Rubik and Aldo from Mexico, and they were giving me advice on how I can integrate in what I'm doing right now in the summer camp. So what I've learned through this fellowship, and I want to make sure I emphasize this, is the curriculum module and how to write curriculum. I mean, it's made my job more easy because we have to make sure that we link what we do in gaming to academics. And especially with virtual reality so new, I'm really so incredibly thankful to be part of this journey and this we have connections with other fellows and mentors. And I think that's what it is. It's about networking. And even as a computer science teacher, we're not alone. So I just want to make sure that I emphasize that you're able to talk to other teachers and other incredible individuals that have advice for you, or you can give them advice. And it's a network of people that we're just trying to emphasize this.
Thanks, Mark, and I appreciate that's such a great point. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really, again, that community and what we try to strive for our students. And thank you all for sharing. You all have been great examples of what we can do with Scholastic Esports for our students and youth. So I appreciate you sharing some of your experiences within this program. Just to kind of wrap things up before our Q&A, again, if you are interested in applying, I'm sure you've already seen this, the program application PDF and online application is available on the website. We'll post that link once again in here. When you get to that page, you'll see both the PDF and the application form. It's just a couple little sort of housekeeping for the application form. You cannot return. There are little kind of list of things to keep in mind before you start. You cannot return and save your application. So please make sure to record your responses separately somewhere else. And then when you're ready to fully submit, go ahead and drop it all in there in the application form. Obviously, if you do have any other issues around that application process, let me just put my email here in the chat. You're more than welcome to reach out in case you have any questions or need some support with that. So let me go ahead and wrap up the information portion of this. So I thank you for attending, and I thank all the fellows for sharing their experiences. So let's go ahead and stop the recording, and then we'll jump right into our Q&A.